Hello, everyone. It is 3 o'clock. I do want to allow just a few more seconds or so to let some more people in. We have about 10 that have not showed up, but that's okay. But if you don't mind, I'm just going to give maybe like 45 more seconds or so to see if anyone else joins us before we get started. Thank you. All right, guys, we want to honor your time, so we are going to go ahead and get started. Welcome to our second bilingual teacher collaborative. We are so excited. If you're joining us for the first time, we hope that you enjoy this as much as we did the first time. And if you're returning, welcome back. We are excited to share resources with you and have guest presenters, both Spanish and Vietnamese bilingual teachers in our region. Just a few reminders. Please keep yourself muted, and you can use the chat box for communication. All questions will be addressed at the end. You're welcome to share resources and things in the chat box, but we'll wait to the end for questioning. And you also have an opportunity to question the presenters and ask them about their resources or what they've presented. So you'll have that opportunity. Please know that you will get a 1 hour of CPE credit. And I often get a lot of questions about the credit. So I want to address that real quick. On the awarding the credit, just know that how the process works is after we meet today, more than likely tomorrow, the attendance will be sent to my assistant, and then when my assistant is able to, because she has many other people besides me, then she will enter the attendance into our system. So once it gets into the Region 11 registration system, then then an email will be sent to you, and it'll ask you to complete a survey about today's learning. And once you do that, your certificate will be sitting under your profile and registration under Region 11. Okay, so a certificate does not come from me. It's not automatic. Look, towards probably the end of next week or give or take for that. Okay, and then today I am recording, and this will be available to you. I will send that email probably tomorrow that has the recording and any resources. So this presentation that you're seeing today will be PDF'd, and it will be sent to you guys. Okay, so you'll have that. So don't feel like you have to feverishly write down all of the resources. You will get a copy of this presentation. And as you're learning today, this is my sidekick here, Elena. Elena and I will be sharing today, and please, share your learning and tag us. You can see both her and mine and hers, our Twitter handles, as well as the Bilingual ESL and Region 11. So if you find that this is a great learning experience, please tag us. We really want to promote this and continue this through next year. So kind of our hashtag or saying since we started this in April and is better together. And throughout this learning curve for many of us having to begin teaching remotely, it's been a struggle. And so we found this image to be really representative of all of the good that can happen from our collaboration. And me, that one person, may have great ideas, but when we come together and share it, we end up being better. And so we really want to continue this saying and continue this thinking that us together is better than one, and we want to continue this work together. So this again is our second bilingual teacher collaborative. You'll see in the bottom corner, you're the first group to see my new logo. I'm very excited to unveil this. I have worked with our communications team to design something specific for English learner support. So I've real quickly tried to add it in some places for today's learning because I wanted you to see that. So anyway, let's get started. So I am Melanie Yoakum, and I am the Region 11 ESSA team lead. And ESSA is the Every Student Succeeds Act, and that is encompasses all federal programs, which includes Title III, which is bilingual ESL programs. I've been serving English learner students and teachers for 22 years. I've been a self-contained teacher. I have taught middle school. I have taught elementary and adult learners, and I've worked at the district level in the bilingual ESL department. And then now I'm at the service center going on my, well, I guess soon beginning my 4th year, which is kind of crazy. In the beginning, I was an instructional content coach, pre-K 12. And then most recently in September, I moved into this position. And so I'm very excited about it because I'm very, very passionate about working with English learners. I truly believe it is my purpose in life, and I just really want to do what we can to advocate for all of our students here in the region and for you. And I'm going to let Elena, my colleague, introduce herself. Are you there, Elena?
Yes, I was muted. I'm sorry. Good afternoon, all. I have the pleasure of working alongside Melanie and serving you all and serving our English learners. Being an English learner myself and Spanish being my first language, I've had the opportunity to serve bilingual and ESL students or EL students for over 13 years, and just so grateful to have this opportunity and continue to grow and learn alongside with you. So thank you all for being here today, and can't wait to get started.
Thank you, Elena. So just a little bit about our region. And if you joined us last time, this is a repeat, but we really want just you to kind of know how far does Region 11 go, and who do we serve in our area? And you can see over to the left, that is an image of all of the counties, which are 10 counties that Region 11 covers. You can see it goes all the way down past Erath and Johnson County, and then we go all the way up to the Oklahoma border. So it's a very wide range, very diverse districts and charter schools as well, because we also serve charter schools and private schools, but very, very different. We have some that they might have literally one English learner or maybe none. And then we have larger populations, and it's very, very diverse. But at this, as of last year, we have 98,666 English learners that are being served in a bilingual ESL program. That means there's more out there, because we do have parent denials that do not take us up on our services, but though that's how many we have at this point. And that is number 4 in the state of Texas. So our region, believe it or not, is number 4, which was quite honestly shocking to me that we had that many. You can see our student population over here, the graphics. You can see that 36% are Hispanic, and then we have Pacific Islander and Asian. So we were very, again, it shows that diversity. And then at the bottom, this is not completely accurate on the program models, because not every district or charter has responded to my survey. But at this point, you can see what program models we do offer. We have one-way dual language, two-way dual language, transitional early exit, and transitional late exit. So those are the percentages of what we have. Again, I would say that's not 100% accurate, just because I have not had everyone participate in that. And you can see we have Spanish and Vietnamese programs. So now I'm going to let Elena introduce some of the resources that we have on our Learning at 11 site that do include both English and Spanish resources.
Thank you, Melanie. So over this over this pandemic, and instructional supports were created to support learners at home. And so if you have an opportunity, and I know the school year has either ended for you or will end soon, these are all documents and resources that will continue to stay live on our website. So if you go to our Region 11 portal or website, you're going to see this banner at at the very forefront of our website. And you're going to click on the Learning at 11 bar there at the bottom. And you're going to have an opportunity to really dig into all of the instructional resources that were offered during this time. Some of those are developed as enrichment activities. Others are pretty thorough instructional materials that almost emulate an instructional lesson plan. And so as you're thinking through and maybe even have an opportunity to support learners over the summer, you might still be able to find some need in if you click on the pre-K 4 tab, you'll see what's circled there with you'll have an opportunity to choose from the grade level band that is for your student. So we have the kinder and first grade level grade band, and then second and third, fourth and fifth, and then there are some additional English language supports. If you click on any of the ELAR resources, you're going to notice that all of those are also available in English and in Spanish. And so one of the things that we wanted to be mindful is equity and access. And so whatever was produced for English language arts was available in English and in Spanish. So like I said, if you're still needing some additional tools for your summer school, we do have all of those components there. And we'll continue to stay there as a guide, almost as a way to provide that support for students that are still looking to continue to learn and grow over the summer. Melanie?
Yes, thank you, Elena. And something to note too is as we move through the summer, there is possibility that some of that stuff may come down and not be as readily available. So I would strongly encourage you to go and find your grade level band and download some of those things because they could be useful later on. Because there are districts and charter schools that are not a part of our instructional services contract, and I know that means nothing to you, but basically districts sign up for they sign up for a contract with us, and they get all trainings within that contract. They get resources and such. And so if your district or your charter school does not sign up for that instructional services contract, there is a chance that eventually you would not have access to those. So I would strongly encourage you to go ahead and download those for your grade level so you have them, because as Elena talked about, regardless of even if we move to normalcy, these are good things for you to have. And so now I'm going to show you a little bit, just really not go into deep detail about the English learner side. So at-home learning for our English learners, this too, even though because you're in a bilingual setting, right, we have that other language with the English part of our jobs. And so here you will find Let's Practice English pre-K through 12. You will find Let's Practice English with Pictures. Also Read, Talk, and Write, and no technology needed. Also, there are some resources within here that have been translated. Venus ISD helped translate some things into Spanish, and then Keller ISD, some of our Vietnamese bilingual teachers translated a few things for me as well. So we do have those things there. Also, there are there are YouTube videos where I screen recorded myself with no language just to watch, to show parents how to translate web pages, documents, how to use their phone and such. So those things are there as well. So I would encourage you to go and look at these resources too and download those before they potentially, you may not have access if your district does not join our contract. And then a few other things is professional learning. I find some of the best things on Facebook and Twitter. And there are some things on Instagram too. I should have probably added those. I'll tell you that I find the most on Twitter. And I listed a few, and I know that the two top ones do say ESL, but again, there's so many good things out there, and we do still need to address that side as well. So those were just a few that I follow, but there's so much out there. And I always tell teachers it's free PD. I know that some people, they're scared of Twitter. They don't want to do it. But there's so many good things. And then Facebook, here are a few people that are groups that I'm following currently. The Bitmoji craze, you'll see Bitmojis all over today, just because we were just inspired by how teachers were using Bitmojis to really connect with kids during this time. And so I started following that group. I actually just recently unfollowed because it was just so much. It was overwhelming me, but I'll probably go back to it at some point. And then leading ELLs and advocating for ELs. But there's so many more that I'm sure you're already aware of. But just one way to get free ongoing PD. And then I'm very excited because I just set up a YouTube channel, and I want to say that these links may not be right as I'm talking to you because I just updated some things today. So before I PDF this and send it to you, I will most certainly update that. But now we do have a YouTube channel, ESC Region 11 English Learner Support. You will find playlists for parents. You will find playlists for students, and of course teachers, and then even some compliance pieces. I have one playlist that is multilingual books, and as I come across more things, or if you know of things, please send myself or Elena an email and say, hey, this is a great resource, and we'll make sure that we add that. But you can go to YouTube, our YouTube channel, for 24/7 professional learning, and share with your families as well. All right, so here's what you came to watch, is connecting with your bilingual students during remote learning. And really, that image about the heart is the effective needs of our students is the #1 priority. They're confused with what's going on, and really that saying goes with at any time, not just during our remote learning. But I think right now we feel so disconnected from our classes and from our students and our families, and it's been hard on everyone. And so today we have our guest presenters that are going to share a few things about how they're connecting, and I'm going to share a few resources with you as well. So here are a few things that I came across that kind of sparked an idea to me. I came across Slidesmania, and if you're not familiar with Slidesmania, you can get lots of great cool templates for Google Slides. But I came across this template, and it caught my attention because I thought, well, we're virtual right now. How could I, send my students or colleagues or whatever postcards and letters? And so this had a really cute template. And again, school may be done for you, but you could maybe even consider using this for the summer or next year. But how could you set up maybe a slideshow, either in Google Slides or PowerPoint, where you could have each student's postcard or letter there, and they're all where you can type in their names, just like I did here. This was me doing that, and sending them a little note. So if school hasn't ended for you, or you want to send something, just following up for the summer, this would be a cute way to do that, to connect with your students. And then what really inspired this whole topic today, and in particular the Bitmojis, was coming across this one, and it was a flat, like Flat Stanley, but flat Mrs. Price, and she has these little her flat image in a Bitmoji as well as a letter. And so thinking about sending snail mail and your Bitmoji, and again, school may be done for you, but if you still feel like, oh, there's just really something else that I want to do for my kids, and you still have access to their mailing addresses, this would be another cute way to connect with them. And then here's another one that I thought, even if you're done with school, you could consider sending this to your students for the summer, or, could you still use it next year, even though we do go back to normal school? But this one I really liked because it's let your students imagine they're reading to you or with you. And you'll see on this little laptop, there's actually a timer there, and you could put in, if you want them to read a set amount of time, then you could plug in your own timer. But then this scene, which I have down here, and you can make a copy of it, it's a blank scene, and then I just took my Bitmoji and I placed it in the different spots, like they could watch it like I was reading with them. So I really liked this one as another way to connect. And then this one is to have create digital memories and make a class photo. Keep your students connected with a class photo. There's a how-to, and then even a class photo template. In fact, we're going to come to a slide with a whole bunch of links, and on there's a how-to for parents. So if parents or the student, depending on the age you teach, it gives them directions on how to make a Bitmoji, and then they could send it to you, and you could do this as well. Because, you know, in the end, we've ended our year as a digital class, and what a cute way to you know, have that memory. And then this one is a help center for Bitmojis. And you can, again, here's the presentation. You can make a copy of it. Once you do, all of these sections are hyperlinked. So you can go in and you can click on them, and it will take you to another video or directions on how to do these different things. And this is not me. I got this from you know, either Twitter or the Bitmoji craze on Facebook. And then what I did is I just put my own little picture in here. And but you can see on the back wall, people have posters and different things, so you could tailor it to however you would like. And I could see so much potential with this, with parents, having a help center for parents, and having one for students, or having activities into the summer. And then even when we do go back face to face, this could be another way to extend learning at home. And here's my very busy slide, but again, you will get this PowerPoint in your inbox through email, and you will have all of these links. And so you can see here are some videos on making your Bitmoji talk, making Bitmoji stickers for both Google Classroom and Seesaw, putting them on your slides, making your Bitmoji interactive, uploading Bitmojis, you name it, it's all there. And the very last one, how to for parents, is very helpful as well. Oh gosh, so sorry guys. I went to the wrong thing. Hold on just a second. I must have clicked too many times. Okay, my apologies. All right, back in business. All right, here was one that one of the ESL teachers in the teacher collaborative shared, and she had borrowed it from someone else that she had seen on the Bitmoji craze. And this one I wanted to share with you guys because this teacher has all these posters representing different Spanish-speaking countries, and when you click on those, it actually takes you to that country and gives you information about that country. So I thought this was a really cool one to include, because this might be one that you want to, those of you that are in a Spanish bilingual classroom, that you might want to incorporate depending on where your student is from. Oh, let me go back again. Sorry, it's all going backwards again. Okay, sorry for my technical difficulties today. All right, so now we're to our special guest, and we have 4 special bilingual teacher guests. We have Amy Lay from Keller ISD, and Amy is a Vietnamese bilingual teacher. We have Esmeralda Hernandez, and she is from Lake Worth ISD, and Michelle Comunero from Lake Worth ISD, and Ronnie Rosales from Castleberry ISD. So thank you so much, guests, for joining us, and I hope our participants are excited to hear about all the resources and ideas that you're going to share with us. And Elena, oh, it's actually me, Elena. I'm going to introduce Amy, and Amy is a 3rd grade bilingual Vietnamese teacher from Keller ISD, and I actually had the pleasure of working alongside Amy whenever I was in Keller at the district office, and so I'm very excited to have Amy. She's a phenomenal teacher, and that program does an amazing job whenever it is the Vietnamese New Year. They put on an amazing show at their elementary school, and really just values that culture and shares that with everybody in our district. So Amy, welcome. You can unmute yourself, and if you will turn your video on, and you can continue introducing yourself and just give me the cue as I need to move through the slides.
I'm Amy Lay. I came to Keller. I was actually the 2nd Vietnamese bilingual that I was hired on. So Lan was hired first, and I was the add-on. And I've been with Keller I'm finishing up my 11 years here in Keller. I'm finishing up 3rd grade, but next year I will be going into 4th grade bilingual. So that's going to be a new adventure for me because I've never taught 4th grade before. Okay, next slide. Okay, so one of the things that I've been doing during remote learning is using Google Classroom for daily communications, and I post announcements here. And my students love going on here because it's kind of like Facebook, but you know, for our class. They can chat with me, leave me messages. I can private message them, ask me questions. We did all of our classwork this whole time in Google Classroom, and they were able to turn in their work. And I made an effort to comment on every single assignment that they turn in, just so I add that personal touch, and so they know that I actually looked at their work. And I also left pre-recorded read alouds for them so they can access that throughout the whole remote learning time. Okay, next slide. One of the things that we do a couple times a week is go on Go Noodle. It's not just about one of those indoor recess videos where you just dance around. I actually always had 1 breathing or 2 breathing videos and a brain exercise. The breathing videos help them to cope with stress. We talked about how they can use different breathing techniques to calm down, to help with anxiety, and to help refocus. So we did a couple of those. It was a little silly at first, but they got the hang of it, and we just tried to do a whole bunch of different breathing techniques. Brain exercise videos, it was really silly, and I told them it's like working out your brains. There were things like trying to do your fingers opposite directions, or, you know, just getting their minds off schoolwork and just working out their brains. If you look on the bottom, I circled the breathe and the brain exercise. So if you go on there and you go under category movement types, that's where you can access those two if you're interested in that. Next video. One of the things that I did this summer, I also got on social media, and Melanie also mentioned earlier, is using the Bitmoji, and I called it the Adventures of Flat Teachers. So we watched the Flat Family read aloud together, and then I told them that there's going to be a surprise in the mail. I didn't tell them what it was. And when they opened up the mail, they got a letter from me and also a poem that goes with it. And I laminated the Bitmoji. I sent mine and Goswan, which is our ESL teacher, so they got 2 of them instead of just 1. And I told them, at first I told them to take a picture and post on Google Classroom. And then after they got the hang of it, we actually went to Flipgrid, and they actually made videos of the 2 Bitmojis doing different adventures. Next slide. And I'll show you a little bit about that. And on Flipgrid, I recently went on Flipgrid again. I learned about this a couple of years ago, but I never actually got to use it, because you know how you get a whole bunch of resources and then you kind of push it to the side. Well, I made an effort this year to actually get on and do a whole bunch of Flipgrid. So this one I really like because it connects them with their peers and me outside of the Zoom meetings, because you know you can't have 5 Zoom meetings a day. So when they go on the video, they can watch the videos over and over again. They can see their peers and they can connect with them. And I felt like this was good for them, because some of them, they're the only child in the family, or some of them, they're home alone by themselves. So they need that social interaction, whether it's one of the photos that we posted or even just a recorded videos that, you know, their classmate had made. On the right, you'll see a little screenshot of like the different topics. It's really small, I know, but like you can make different topics for them, like introduce yourself or talk about your family. Well, one of the Flipgrid that I did was Adventures of Miniko Amy and Miniko Swin. And I told them to just take videos of those 2 Bitmojis around the house doing different things. They can edit and then they can send. On the bottom, I have 3 examples. One of the first video, the student used our Bitmoji, went up the slide, down the slide, and played with their little cars. The second one, he had us writing. The third one, she had us playing with her animals. And one of my students, they took us and they had us get hurt. And she even put like sirens of ambulance coming and stuff. And I was like, oh my gosh, you made us get hurt and go to the hospital. But it's really funny that they're able to use that creativity and to show their friends the different adventures of the Bitmoji. And since we're not there with them, they can take our pictures out and look at us. That's kind of creepy, but I just thought that that would help them just to stay connected with me and with their classmates throughout this whole remote learning time. I think that's my last one, yeah. If you have any questions, just let me know. I love to answer any questions and help out and share my ideas. Thank you for having me today.
Thank you, Amy. And I love that she brought in the piece about Flipgrid, because all of your students, if you're in a one-way dual language program, they are doing TELPAS. Now some didn't do that this year, but they will be taking TELPAS online, where that listening and speaking piece is. And Flipgrid is an amazing tool to use to promote listening and speaking, and to really practice. And when you go into Flipgrid, if you're not familiar, some of you, may or may not be familiar with it, but there's a disco library where many teachers have already created resources there, and so you can find those. So thank you, Amy. Thanks so much for representing our Vietnamese bilingual programs. And as we go through today, Amy, if you or any of our participants today that are joining us that are part of a Vietnamese bilingual program, if you know of resources or ideas specific to Vietnamese, please put them in the chat box and share. We want to make sure that we build that library of resources for that group as well. So thank you, Amy.
Thank you.
All right, Elena, then I will let you introduce our next guest.
Yes, thank you, Melanie, and thank you, Amy. Next, we have Ms. Esmeralda Hernandez. She is a bilingual ESL specialist at Lake Worth ISD, serving Miller Elementary, and she is also a former 5th grade DLE teacher. So thank you for being here today. Take it away.
Hello, everyone. I am really happy to be able to be here and share some of the things that we have been doing at Lake Worth with you. And this is gonna maybe sound a little repetitive because it's a little bit of the same things that you probably have seen. So I'll share just kind of my experience and the things that I did with some of these resources. And so when it came to the first few weeks, I know it was a little bit more challenging for me. In my particular position, I do not have a classroom with students. Instead, I serve 275 EL students in my campus. And so reaching out to them was very, very important to me. And I wanted to make sure that it was not just effective, but it was also effective. And so, one of the things that I realized I had to do was meet them halfway. Several of our students, as I'm sure it was the case for many of your schools, did not have devices, they didn't have internet, they were struggling. And so I tried to make an effort when it came to reaching out. Phone calls ended up being really the best way. Another really good resource that if you're not familiar with is WhatsApp, which you do need to share your phone number. And so I know that there's reservations that you might have with that. In my experience, it wasn't really an issue. And WhatsApp it's a really interactive application that allows you to have video conferences with students. It allows you to, if they share a picture, you can annotate it and send it back, and it's really, really quick. You can do voice recording. And so with one particular student, I know that, and I'll just share specifically with him, his name is Elvin. He's a newcomer in Lake Worth. He got here in November. And so we were doing a lot of work with him to make sure, and he's enrolled in the bilingual program. So he had that extra support. But whenever this happened, I know that it was very challenging for him. He lives with his dad. And so I know that at times his dad had to leave, go to work, and Selvin would be at home by himself. And when it came to doing some of the schoolwork, I know that it was challenging. I mean, he had a phone that his dad got for him, but even using the phone, he did not have unlimited data. And so whenever it came to streaming videos that the teachers were sending, his data would, use up the videos would use up all the data. And so I think that for him, having me at the reach of his fingertips and just say, what do? I can't watch this video anymore, or I can't access Seesaw, or I can do this and that. It seemed to make a huge difference for him. Even now, he would just text me a random picture of something that he's doing. And again, it comes down to that effective support of maybe I wasn't doing a lot of academics with him because I realized that that's not what he needed at that moment. And when he was ready, a couple days after the school closure started, we were able to get started with some of the work, and he was able to start completing and turning some of that in. And so Talking Points is another very good resource that I know has been shared in the past. And of course, having virtual meetings, just opening it up. I know that several teachers established video conferencing hours, and that seemed to be very effective. It's just having that availability for students. A second area that I noticed was high need was just parent training. And I know Melanie and just Region 11 in general did a wonderful job at the beginning when all of this happened and the rest of us were trying to catch up and figure things out. They stepped right in and they provided a lot of really good and useful resources for us. In our case, in my school, several of the teachers were using Seesaw. I'm sorry, that's the bell. I'm at school. But a lot of parents, when they started using this application, they didn't know how it worked. And yes, to us, it's very intuitive. You press here, you go there, and you submit it, and it's a piece of cake. But for several of our parents, this was not second nature. And so I started making some videos for them. I know there's one, and it's hyperlinked. So once you get this PDF, you can access some of those videos. I also added some videos on how to translate in Spanish. And so I do use the voiceover. And I use my phone, the screen recording feature on the iPhone, which saved me so many times when parents would reach out and say, Ms. Fernandez, can you help me with this? I'm having a difficult time understanding what to do. It was so easy to just, record my screen and show them step by step what to do. And you can go to the next slide. I'm also sharing a couple resources of things that we did at Miller. The first one is a Seesaw activities menu, which if you are not familiar with Seesaw, I am completely in love with it. I really enjoy using it. And Melanie, I don't know if you could pull it up for me to show them. So at the very beginning, once I knew that many of our teachers were using Seesaw, I created this menu that has ESL activities, and it also has Spanish activities across the different contents. If you go to and it's kind of chunked by grade levels. A lot of this, very similarly to Flipgrid, Seesaw has a library where many teachers and people that use Seesaw upload the activities and share them. And so really what I did is I just kind of stole some of those and translated them. The very last page that has the Spanish language arts resources, a lot of those I did create, and the very last one is one that came from the BEAM conference, where we were able to address the importance of sociocultural competence. And we figured at our school that since students were at home with their parents, it really allowed for this one activity called De Dónde Viene Nuestro Nombre? Where does our name come from? To add that, and it was really multi-layered. It had different purposes. One of them was to allow for that purposeful interaction at home that I realized, even me being at home with my family, we would get tired of each other, and it came down to not doing a lot of purposeful activities together. And so this started as that idea of just, the kid going up to his dad or mom or even grandma, grandpa, and asking, where does my name come from? Can you tell me about the history, or who am I named after? And so that link will take you to the lesson plans. And it has a series of Seesaw activities and resources that you could use thinking of next year if we come back to normalcy. And every time that I think of coming back to back to normal, I think that, well, there's no way that after this that we have experienced and all this collaboration and all this learning that has happened, we're not going to go back to normal. I think that the when we return to normal, quote unquote, it's going to be so much better because of all the resources and the learning that has happened. And number 2 is an instructional organizer. It was specifically designed for parents. Another area that I started noticing, and again, this is coming from me reaching out to parents and hearing them talk. a lot of, and it covers that affective need that they had, that I would call them to see what they needed. And sometimes all they needed was to just share with you all their complaints of, I do not understand this and I don't know how to use this. And so this was one of the I guess, results from some of those conversations. Melanie, if you can click on the virtual instruction organizer. And it was just a visual for parents to see what they needed to complete for the subjects throughout the week. And so when you click on it and you do get this PDF, it's going to ask you to create a copy of it. But it's basically, it's a lesson planner, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. And it has the different the different content areas. You can manipulate it, change it. But I think, and again, you know, coming back to the normal, it's a good resource to continue using. I might have hyperlinked it incorrectly. That is not the one that I was planning on attaching there, but I'll make sure that you guys see it. And it's just been good for parents to, when teachers have posted the weekly activities, to use as a resource to guide themselves and to know, okay, today I'm gonna focus on this content and this activity. And I know this has been widely mentioned of chunking with virtual instruction, taking it to half and maybe even that to another half, just because it is overwhelming when teachers have to be, when parents have to be at home teaching their children. And then the last two are just, it's the resource that Melanie pulled up. And it came precisely from that idea of, we cannot think of the normal day, you know, the 8-hour day. And so we took reading lessons in 3rd and 4th grade, and then we just kind of scaffolded them throughout the weeks that we knew we were gonna have virtual instruction. And as a resource, it has videos, and so things that you can continue using next school year. And that is all I have. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Esmeralda, for sharing all of that with us. Next, we have Michelle Colmenero. She is a 4th grade teacher at Lake Worth ISD, also at Miller Elementary. So Michelle, share with us, please.
Thank you for having me, first of all. I'm very excited. I'm very nervous. This is my first time, so, but thank you. I'm a 4th grade teacher at Bilingual. I work with the team, so it's not just me by myself. I have an awesome, great team. 2 other teachers with me, Miss Holguin and Miss Salcedo, so we're a trio. When we work together, we're at Lake Worth at Miller Elementary is where we work at. And I do work alongside Miss Hernandez, who just presented. Okay, next slide. The thing that when we started this whole online virtual learning thing, the first thing that as a team that we thought about was communication. How are we gonna get to talk to our students, talk to their parents? They're not gonna be with us anymore. We have to make this simple and make it work, not just for us, but for our parents, our students. So that's the first slide. As you can see here, communication. Our 3 points, we said parent communication was our first one. We needed to talk to parents. Student communication and conferences. So the first one, parent communication, was constant communication with parents, letting them know important dates, changes, and we use the app Remind. I don't know if you guys know about it, but that's the way that we communicated with our parents. We sent out announcements when things changed. We sent out, as a team, we did a good job we created a Google gradebook, so all 3 of us could go online and we could see, like, if, for example, I only teach ELAR and SLAR and my partner teaches only math, so I could see, okay, so my homeroom, my student is missing a lot of math assignments. So we communicated and we saw constantly, and we could send parents, you know what, so-and-so is missing so many assignments. If, you know, it's busy, but when you get a chance, can you please, if you need any help, let us know, you know, so that way that student catches up. So we said parent communication was a big thing. The second one was student communication. How are we gonna get to the students? Because yes, we can get to parents through Remind, but now we need to get to the kids, which is pretty much who we want to reach as well. So if you see on the side, we said student announcement. We used Seesaw as our platform. to do this online learning. And on there, if you see on the tab, there's where it says student announcements. That's where we always sent an announcement. If we had conferencing time, if we needed to post an extra assignment or something had to be done, that's where it was sent and the kids could see it. We could also see who saw the announcement. So we could check and see, okay, everybody in this homeroom saw it, everybody in this home, or somebody's missing. And just, you know, so the kids knew what was going on. And if when we had book fair time, it was online, we sent it on there so they know and all that. So that was really awesome. We use Screencastify a lot as well to communicate with them. Like Ms. Hernandez said, a lot of our kids at the start did not know how things worked. Parents didn't know, I'm having trouble with this. And let's be honest, sometimes with so much texting, things get lost. So you don't know what's going on. So what we started doing was record ourselves, like she said, on Screencastify, and we made a general recording to parents and to kids. This is how Seesaw works. When you need to find an assignment, this is where you go, this is what you do, and so on and so on. So Screencastify really became our best friend as well as we went on through the weeks. And the last thing on this slide, I think this is what really also made a big difference for us, is we just started to do conferencing time. So what we did is that as a team, we selected one day out of the week when we decided on Wednesdays, where we would get on, each of us, since it's 3 of us, we would get on an hour or maybe 30 minutes, 40 minutes to get on and say, kids, every Wednesday, for example, myself, I'm on from 11 to 12. I will be on there. If you have questions over an assignment that was posted this week, if you don't understand something, if you need me to teach it, get on this time. This is the time that Ms. Coleman is going to be on, and I'm going to help you. And kids, surely, but they started getting on and they were like, Ms. Coleman, I don't get it. I need help with this. Can you remind me? And it really helped. And then our writing teacher, Ms. Holguin, she would get on during the next hour, and the kids already knew. It was myself, my partner, Ms. Holguin, and then Ms. Salcedo, which is our math teacher at the end. And they were already, okay, I need to get on with Ms. Holguin because I also have questions over writing. And I need to get on with Ms. Salcedo because I need help with math. So this became something that they got really used to. And like we said, we picked one day out of the week just so they always knew, and they knew Wednesday. Wednesday was our conferencing time. It was in the middle of the week because assignments were posted on Monday. So that gave them a chance to see it Monday, Tuesday. If they didn't get it, hop on Wednesday, and we use Zoom for this. And then Thursday, Friday, once you get a chance to complete your work. But yeah, that was our communication. On to the next slide, please. The second thing that we did was, we thought was really important was, and we noticed it after like the second week that we started this, was how are we going to get the kids engaged? We started losing a lot of them, that they started turning in work, and then it was like, that one student that turned everything in all of a sudden started missing assignments, or a lot of them were not getting on like we were hoping they would get on. So we're like, how are we going to keep them engaged? One thing that we did was to keep them organized, and so they knew what was going on, is that we did a weekly agenda like you see on there. We would post it on the student announcements. It goes by each subject, so math, writing, science, social studies, and reading. And we put in a bullet for each assignment that had to be done for that week. That was a way to keep them on task, engaged, and to know, okay, have I done it? Have I not done it? That works really great, because now the kids and the parents were not like, Ms. Colonero, Ms. Hogan, what do I need to do this week? They could go back to their student announcements and they were able to see what had to be done for that week. Now for, like I said, to keep them more engaged and on task, we started doing what we call weekly prices. And we started sending them, it was like a raffle, and we started sending them pizza every Friday for the students that started completing their assignments, not just completing it, but like, as a teacher correctly. No, we were not looking for 100%, but the students that actually went in and put effort and worked really hard, like not 100, but a good well effort on the assignment. Because also we noticed that, like our example, our Miss Hogan, our writing teacher, she was asking, we knew the students could write a full page, but all of a sudden they were giving us 2 sentences, 3 sentences. So that was not, like we wanted effort. So we started doing these weekly prices. We put them for every assignment that they finished before Friday, complete, well done. They put their name in a raffle for every single assignment. And then we would, on Friday, we put their names, we recorded our screen so the kids could see that, We're not adjusting or cheating or anything. Your name will be popped up, and the name was selected, and we would deliver a pizza for them every Friday. And when we started doing this, the kids were like, okay, we started seeing how the assignments would start coming in, and they were being done correctly. They were, oh my gosh, it's Friday. I need to hurry up and put in my assignments. Seesaw has an awesome map view where we could see what assignments, how many were posted each day. So that's how we could catch, like, on Thursday night. Sometimes, yes, if, you know, our kids, we want them to work, we don't want to leave them out. Friday, or before we even started to do the raffle, if they turned them in, we would include them. But this worked really awesome. It was really great. The kids were so excited when they would get their pizza, to see their name being pulled up to win, and it was really awesome. So these were the two main things that we as a team really wanted to focus on, was communication and engagement, and it worked really well. And that's it. Thank you.
Thank you, Michelle. Thank you so much for sharing all of those great strategies to really connect with the students' effective filter. So thank you. Next, we have Mr. Ronnie Rosales. He is a kindergarten teacher at Joy James Elementary at Castleberry ISD. Ronnie has been named Teacher of the Year and has also served as District Teacher of the Year. So we're so grateful he's joining us today. Welcome, Ronnie.
Hey, it's a pleasure to be here. Thank you for allowing us to be on here together. Yeah, my name is Ron Rosales. I've been teaching kindergarten bilingual here at Georgians Elementary in Sansom Park for Castleberry ISD. I only have 3 slides. I'll be quick, but with this whole pandemic and everything and stuff, at the forefront for us was like how we're going to keep, parents in the loop, communication and all. I guess over the past like 4 or 5 years, I have my own children, and I've seen it all as a parent. I've seen Remind 101, then it switched to Remind. Class Dojo came out of nowhere for parent communication and Seesaw. But recently I just found out what Class Tag was, and I've never used them. I've never found them effective. First of all, in 2 aspects. For me as a parent, after a long day's work, I'm not gonna come home and sit on the couch and open up Class Dojo, or check my Remind unless I push the notifications out. I'm gonna come home and sit on the couch and get on my Facebook. And so next slide, if you don't mind. For the past 4 years, 5 years, I've been just straight Facebook. I've done a class Facebook page every year, even when my district said I weren't allowed to do it. I did a private group. I went ahead 4 or 5 years ago, created like a private group. You can see the slide on the left right over there. It says private group. There's 43 members. So at the beginning of the school year, I have my parents to tell them, just to let you know, Mr. Rosales does not do any homework folders. I don't send homework folders home. I don't send copies of words or syllabus or anything like that. I tell them all the homework will be done through Facebook. And they look at me with eyes wide open. It's a new way for me to do it. So less work for me and less work for them at home. So once I get everybody on board 100%, I got to assure them that it is a private group, that whatever is shared within the class page is only for us and no one else can see on the outside. So once they agree with it, then we add everybody on, and I set the settings to where they can't post things, only I can approve of things and everything. I have 22 parents in my class. There's 43 in there because a bunch of teachers, they want to see my class, or even I have administrators in our district who are like, I heard you're doing pretty good things on Facebook, so they joined it. Of course, I ask my parents for permission on it, and they agree always. I don't send, our school will give, on that little second picture there, our school is easy to hand out, 22 little slips to take home, notes to home. I get them, I put them in their folders, but everything is done through class events, through Facebook events, through our classroom. So everything, there's just some events that I had there, just reminders. Because, when they go home, they open up their phone, they're going to see the notifications. Hey, this week you have, whatever event I create on there for our families to see. Before I move on too much with the Facebook deal, I know, and I'm speaking on other teachers, when they talk to me about it, they're like, well, I've had Facebook since I was in college back, in 2009, and have a lot of things on there that people don't want to see. That's the only drawback behind it, is that in order for you don't want parents to see your stuff on Facebook or whatnot, you do have to go back and change your settings to like all your profile pictures and all your past profile pictures and all your past like cover pictures, because they're all set to public. So you do have to go individually and set them to like private. But once they're in there, you don't have to be friends with your parents. Like I'm not friends with my parents at all. They request it and I deny it, whatever. But we're part of the group, so they see everything in there. So a little second slide, no more notes. Everything is done through events. That third, go back. I'm sorry, the one previous set. So that third little picture with the cylinder, that's just an example of homework. So we do the lesson. That was a lesson on solid shapes, and so the homework was just a connection, make a connection to what we learned in the classroom to at home. So the homework was easy. Look for a cylinder at home and take a picture of your child with this object they found and post it in the comments. And that last picture right there on the right, there's two students, one's holding a soda can, one's holding like a thing of bubbles. So the following day, we review what we learned. So it goes from the day that we introduce the lesson to the homework at night when they're taking the picture, making a connection at home, and then coming back that following day and then making that connection. Oh yeah, I remember I did that homework with my parents last night. So Facebook for me is amazing. It does really good things for me. Family communication at the most. Messenger also, quick instant messages with the parents. So I already had my feet set before this whole thing, started, this whole pandemic, where they're approaching us, like, how are you going to communicate with parents? I was like, well, I don't have an issue because I've used Facebook forever. I've used it all year, so it was never an issue for me. So that's what made, now we can switch over to the next slide. Yeah, so that's what made this real successful for me. And I do want to credit one of my co-workers, Holly Richardson, and we got together and we came up with this. But so basically there on the top left, you see there's the Dino from Happy Numbers, which is a math program. And then the Raz Kids robot, and then those two bottom two, the iStation for language, for reading and math. So we did as a kindergarten team, we said, you know what, we're gonna allow these children to work on 30 minutes a day. And sure, it was a hassle. We had to use a lot of screencasts, like Esmeralda was talking about. We did a lot of videos for parents how to log in and whatnot. And then we used Google Meet. So as a kindergarten teacher, we said we met twice a week. It was either Monday, my days were Monday and Thursday, 2 times a week. And basically I'm doing read alouds and connected to our HMH. And then, so I would record it and then upload the link to the Facebook class page for those who weren't able to join. And then the students would see the recorded Google Meet, and while I'm doing the read aloud, and they know to respond to the literature, whatever question I put on there. They were able to draw a picture, write some sentences, take a picture of their work, and then just boom, snap it on there on Facebook as a comment. I would go back and find out how to do it. So that first larger little square right there, it shows how I kept track of it. So that was like the week 11 through the 15th, I believe. So the Rats Kids, that pink bar, that's every student who participated that day for every day of the week. And you can see the numbers in quotations. So out of actually, before we got out of spring break, I was at 21 students. So I was actually engaged with 19. One of them left for Mexico, couldn't see him anymore. But you can see the engagement there. And I'm happy to say that I had probably the most engaged class in our district. And I base it all on 2 things. The family communication was there through Facebook and Facebook Messenger. We never lost a beat. I never had to get parents on anything. We were already set, ready to go. And second of our district, I'm fortunate to work in a district where we provide one-on-one devices for all students from pre-K to 12th grade when this whole thing started. And we have free Wi-Fi for everyone in our district. We have our own Wi-Fi towers. So at the end of the week, when I went back and find out who participated all their assignments, which is 30 minutes a day, and participate in the Google Meet twice, then the one on the far right, that's our weekly medal. And those are all the students who completed all their assignments, 30 minutes a day in every application, 5 days a week, and then participate in the Google Meet, and then they responded to it. So the Google Meet also, like some of those students in that little faces, a couple of them, they couldn't join Google Meet for whatever reason. They weren't there in the Meet, but because of Screencastify or recording the Google Meet, I shared the link. They were able to go and partake in the Google Meet at that time, and then they were able to respond to the reading. So Yeah, really, I'm really happy with this, the whole pandemic the remote learning, as we called it. It would not have been possible without Facebook and Messenger. And that's all I have for you guys. I don't have my email on there, but I'm sure there's a way you can get it on there. I'm also on Twitter. So, and that's all I have. So any
Thank
questions?
you. No, thank you so much, Ronnie. And I love the spirit of collaboration that you all have shared. Thank you all so much for sharing everything. It's great. Thank you. Melanie?
Yes, I just want to echo what Elena said. Thank you so much. So many good things. And, Esmeralda said that, things are not going to go back to normal. And do we really want them to go completely back to normal in some senses? Because I don't know about you guys, but I've learned so many new things during these closures. And I would like to hope that all of the resources that have been shared for free and people have just really stepped up to the plate to support students. And I would love just to see that continued. And not only that, just the value of teachers. I think that more so than ever, I'm hoping that teachers will be more appreciated than maybe what they have been in the past. So thank you guys so much. We really appreciate it. And we are ending our time has come to an end, but I'm going to real quickly go through a few things. And depending on how long that takes, I'll adjust your credit if we go a little bit longer. But real quickly, just want to share some digital resources. These are two that I just recently came across. You may be familiar with them, but these are two Spanish resources that you may be interested in depending on your grade levels. So again, you will get access to this. The one on the right I really liked because it addressed all language domains. And so I'm encourage you to check those out if you're a Spanish bilingual teacher. And then this one I did introduce last time. There's just not a whole lot out there for Vietnamese bilingual teachers. And that's why I kind of made that statement earlier. If any of you with us today do know of other resources, please share them. But this resource, Unite for Literacy, does, and this does it in Spanish as well, but they're Spanish books, but this one actually has books with Vietnamese audio. So that was one that I did want to share if you were not with us last time. All right, real quickly, I have not checked the chat box to see what questions we may have. Let's see here. Elena, did you notice any questions that maybe we didn't?
No, Melanie, I believe I don't have many questions. I think there's just a lot of compliments and a lot of great sharing that has been taking place. So make sure you kind of browse through the chat. Other people, Anna has shared free PD from Global Vita that's available to us in Spanish and English. So just a lot of sharing that has been taking place. I don't think there's a question. There's a new message. Nope, it just says thank you.
All right, very good. Well, we are so appreciative of all of you attending today. So any resources that you have, for example, the one that Elena just mentioned that is in the chat box, you guys have access to this Padlet to add to it. If you were with us the first time, we mentioned we were creating a folder that you could drop in resources. Well, we noticed that was really probably not the best route. So we created a Padlet, and in this Padlet, you can follow the QR code I've given you, or when I send you this tomorrow, you'll have the link. But please add any resource that you're familiar with to this Padlet, because I really want it to be a space for you guys to come together and have a collaboration. So this is for you. When you go to that, bookmark it and share with whomever and, add away. We really want this to be a space for you to have those resources. And then this is the English Learner Google site that I have, and it covers a lot. It covers listening, speaking, reading, writing, grammar. Now, this one is specific to, the English side, of bilingual or ESL. I am working on doing a dual language learner site, so that is something to come. It is not there yet, but feel free to go here. There's still lots of great resources for you, and so I would encourage you to check that out. And then upcoming PD, you can see on the right-hand side, this is actually a SMORE newsletter that has both mine and Elena's sessions for the summer, all virtual. If you are part of the instructional services contract, or even if you're not, you may be able to attend these for free. We have, I think, about 27 or so between us. And so please, we would encourage you to look at those and join us this summer. And then over on the left-hand side, those are just upcoming learning opportunities that are the Service Center in general. But continue to check back because we may be adding more as far as for English learners. And then also be watching for some flyers. So we both have flyers that'll be coming out that has everything in one spot as well. So what's next? In June, we will have a combined bilingual ESL teacher collaborative, and that's because we have a special guest. We have Dr. Sandy Benavides, and she is going to join us and talk to us about social emotional learning following COVID-19. So what happens when we come back in the fall? How do we help our students? Because, we've heard tragic stories of things going on, and even if the stories aren't tragic, it is still going to be an adjustment for us and for students. So we'll have Sandy with us next month talking to us about social emotional learning. And now I wanted to share this with you. I attended the Beam 2020 conference, and if you were a part of that, Carol Salva was the keynote speaker, and she shared 4 essential messages for students. You are important. What you are learning is important. We will not give up on you, and you can do it. And I also find this fitting for teachers. These 4 essential messages are also important to you. The work that you're doing, it's always been important. Elena and I both are teachers, and we're teachers, and what you do is very important. But I think during this time, it really, really was impactful. Teachers being able to connect with their students when the times weren't normal. And, we're not going to give up on you at the Service Center. We're here to support you, and we know that you can do it. So before our time ends, how impactful was today's learning? And I have just a really quick little poll, if you could take that for me. And just a few questions, now that you've attended today, how well do you understand what we talked about? And from your perspective, how valuable was today? Will it help you improve your practice with dual language students? And then finally, how are you able to put what you learned into practice? So if you could, I'm going to give you a moment to answer those questions. Thank you for being patient. We just have waiting on a few more to finish up, and then we will move on. Thank you so much. We, at the Service Center, it's very important to us to, really reflect on what we're providing you and to take a look and see if what we are providing you is impactful and helpful in your day-to-day job. Okay. All right. So we've got everybody that has voted. Thank you so much. All right, and this page has my contact information as well as Elena's, and you'll see on the left-hand side, that is a link to our English Learner Support page at Region 11. It is currently really under a lot of construction. I did a lot in there today, so it'll continue to evolve to make it more user-friendly for you, but it's both a combined instructional and compliance site. And then at the bottom is a SMORE or a newsletter called Succeeding in a Diverse Classroom that I've been putting out for about 3 years now. And it covers diverse learners in general. So it does lean more heavy towards English learners or dual language students just because that's my passion and my experiences. But you'll find lots of resources there. I don't blog. I give you one instructional tool, and I'll give you a cool new tech highlight and how to use it. And then maybe some other resources, but I would encourage you to follow that, or if you would like to join my email group that where it comes straight to your inbox, if you will just email me and tell me that you want to join the group, then I will add you to my email group and you'll get that every month. I also always tweet it out, so you can find it either on my Twitter or our English Learner Support Twitter at Region 11. But again, Elena and I are just so thankful that you joined us today, and we really appreciate our guests for sharing. There's so many good resources. And although, you know, if you came last time and maybe over this whole time you've been hearing some repetitive resources, it's always nice to hear how other people are using them. And Ronnie, I have to tell you that I kind of got inspired about Facebook using it for English learner support. And I kind of resisted for a while, but now I'm wondering if I'll reach more people. So, you know, even Elena and I learn things from you guys. So we just really, really appreciate you being here with us, and we would encourage you to reach out to us if you need support. And as I mentioned, please go to that Learning at 11 site and download those documents and those resources that we have. So in the event that they are no longer available, you have them. And then tomorrow you will receive the recording and an email with today's resources in the presentation. Elena, do you have any final words to share with everyone?
I just want to say, we always talk about students being resilient, but this has really shown how teachers are leaders, and we are way more than resilient. So thank you all for being here today and sharing all of the great, everything that you've done to really support the needs of our English learners.
Yes, and thank you, Elena. And you know, I agree. Not only the resiliency, but I really, really believe that there's multiple silver linings for our English learners, and that even though we know that we're seeing also to light the inequalities, I think we're also seeing what great things and resources that are out there for our English learners. So again, thank you. We hope that you join us in June. Registration is up, and please look to see what sessions might interest you that Elena and I will be providing this summer. And they are all virtual, and they're short. They're not 3 or 6 hour sessions. They're 1, maybe 2 hours. So again, thank you, and have a safe and relaxing summer for those of you that are, you know, either there or you're on the cusp of your break. So Elena and I work all summer long, so don't hesitate to reach out to us. Thank you.